The power to endure difficulties, overcome challenges, and achieve lasting fulfillment lies within each of us. Too often, however, we search in vain for this mental strength and composure from external sources, through material goods, status, the validation of others. Yet real resilience arises from living in alignment with natural law, developing mastery over judgments and perceptions, and cultivating the virtues of wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. The ancient Greco-Roman philosophy of Stoicism provides a framework for building unassailable mental resilience despite the unpredictability of the external world. With the proper understanding, anyone can progress swiftly along the Stoic path, learning to remain even-keeled through pain or pleasure, focused only on those things within their control. This affords a rare kind of freedom. Across 10 essential lessons, we will explore the core principles and tools which enabled the great Stoic philosophers to withstand injustice, exile, grief, and even death with grace. Through compelling historical accounts and applied philosophical wisdom, you will learn to evaluate your judgments, govern destructive emotions before they take root, find deep fulfillment in purposeful living, and welcome adversity as opportunity for growth. Regardless of background or prior exposure to Stoic thought, by internalizing these fundamental concepts and integrating them through regular practice, you will construct an unshakable pillar of mental resilience, one capable of sustaining you through even the most turbulent times with virtue, honor, and tranquility. The power lies not in fancy concepts or complex theories, but simple truths. The Stoic school of philosophy emerged in the early 3rd century BC and would guide some of greatest minds across 3 centuries in ancient Greece and Rome. Though originating in Athens with Zeno of Citium, Stoicism truly took hold through the teachings of philosophers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius. The teachings directly influenced powerful leaders, affording them the mental resilience to navigate tremendous adversity and burden. At its core, Stoicism teaches the futility of pursuing fulfillment through external happenings, wealth, pleasure, fame, and other transient things subject to fate. As Epictetus proclaimed, happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control and some things are not. True and lasting happiness arises from individual perceptions, judgments, and actions aligned with the natural law and virtues. Stoics believe that by rigorously training one's faculty of judgment, productive emotions follow, allowing one to calmly and virtuously interact with events outside of one's control. The 4 cardinal virtues provide a moral framework. Wisdom, gained through experience and rational examination of the world to discern truth. Wisdom guides appropriate judgments and behavior. Justice, understanding universal harmony to ensure all judgments are fair and grounded in the equality of all people. Courage, having the mental fortitude to face trials and hardship without being overcome by adversity. Temperance, practicing self-control, discretion, and moderation in one's actions and judgments. These tenets may sound simple in theory, but require tremendous diligence in application. For the eager student, however, a life of happiness, fulfillment, mental clarity, and resilience awaits, no matter the external circumstances. Stoicism promises freedom unmatched through material riches or status. Our progress along the path depends solely on our chosen perspective and exertion of discipline. Let us examine the key exercises, teachings, and tools which enabled giants like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius to meet death and misfortune with graceful composure, and how we might integrate them even today. The chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Epictetus. Few principles are more fundamental to the Stoic path than the dichotomy of control. To pursue mental clarity and resilience, we must devote energy solely to that which we control: our judgments, perspectives, values, and will. All else is folly. Consider the trial of Socrates in ancient Athens. Though innocent, political rivals unjustly condemned him to execution, a catastrophic external event that led many other innocents to indignation or fear in his situation. Yet Socrates maintained composure and dignity, even unto drinking the poison hemlock. He focused on only what was within his power: to speak truthfully, control his perspective, and meet death with courage and virtue. The rest he considered external to his purpose. So too can we liberate ourselves from distress. Determine first what is up to us and what is not. Health, reputation, position, even life itself. These reside strictly in the hands of fate. We can influence but never control externals, whereas our ability to judge situations clearly, master emotional responses, live by principles despite outer turmoil. No one can dominate these but ourselves. By striving not for control over externals, but seeking excellence in how we meet them, we walk the Stoic path. Amor fati, a love of one's fate, emerges from repeatedly practicing this discernment. Our judgments can be moral or immoral. The rest is indifferent. Use for good once this knowledge takes hold. Setbacks become but opportunity to test and improve strength of will. Know precisely where your power lies, differentiating the ongoing spheres of influence and chosen response. Herein lies progress towards mental resilience and freedom. With wisdom and practice, one can stand firm, unshaken by the world's movement. Our impressions will continually evolve. Our principles endure eternally. On which shall we build the citadel of our tranquility? Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, "Is this the condition that I feared?" Seneca. The modern world coddles human comfort, yet, as Seneca knew, willful exposure to managed hardship steels the mind against trivial pains and petty inconveniences inevitable in life. Calluses guard hands. Well, why not our mental resilience? Roman Stoics regularly sought productive discomforts to inoculate themselves against dependence on external pleasures. Emperor Marcus Aurelius slept on hard grounds and ate meager rations while on military campaigns, instead of indulging in luxuries afforded his station. Seneca purposely set aside weeks living as penniless peasants did to retain appreciation for life's basic provisions, guarding against excess. in so conditioning themselves the terrors of war, politics, loss, and exile they later faced held little power for dismay. Through past small pains, present overwhelming trials grew conquerable. Setbacks that would cripple ordinary men seemed but passing, meaningless moments. Let us approach training our minds as elite athletes might condition their bodies. Muscles require breaking down through strain in order to increase in capability. Likewise, must we voluntarily expose ourselves to manage discomforts, building systematically our tolerance and mastery over external pressures. Start simply by going without unneeded pleasures like deserts, warm showers, soft beds on a schedule. Commit to periods with no technology or other distractions. As you adapt, expand to varied disciplines, train attention and focus through cold showers, practice public speaking to overcome social anxiety, wake early, and limit food types to better govern impulses. Identify those areas most sensitive and customize a plan targeting them. Through repeated exposure and preparedness, build calluses for the mind. Sound judgment and principle sustain those who have inoculated themselves with graduated adversity. The challenges and reversals of life hold little terror for those with an even keel. In poise and perspective lie the seeds of resilience. Where shall we begin tempering? If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them, and it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now. Marcus Aurelius. While we hold no authority over external events, our judgments remain sovereign domain. Here lies the true power in constructing mental resilience. Neither adversity nor accolades disturb composure when one governs their evaluations with reason and virtue. Consider the example of Rufus, an eminent Roman Stoic teacher. Upon receiving news that his son passed unexpectedly, Rufus remained composed through the funeral rites. Close friends marveled at his poise and lack of grief. When one asked how he maintained such grace, Rufus replied, "Did you think my son was immortal?" Rather than permit his judgment to label this incident as catastrophic or unjust, his clear perception aligned expectations with reality. Rufus governed emotions by questioning impressions, as we all must learn to. Why consider it tragedy for a man to die old, accomplished, and beloved by kin? None escape mortality. To call early funerals unfair assumes entitlement to longevity. External details matter less than our judgments of them. Exercise careful stewardship over your evaluations, and associated feelings will follows. Question initial reactions, pausing to examine their reasonableness given the bigger picture. Ensure your perspectives align with the truth of nature before allowing them influence. Imprint this practice as instinctual reflex, and few happenings retain enough strength to shake your foundations. With frequent examination, your judgments become accurate reflections, not distorted projections. No desperation arises in perceived loss when one governs emotions through rational thought, conscious choice, and training. Resilience flows naturally for those who subordinate impressions to wisdom and principle. Reason, not reaction, rightfully directs the sage. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Stoics understood emotions as value judgments masked as instincts. Anger shows we have judged another's actions as unjust. Fear signals an impression of harm or danger exceedingly high. Anxiety stems from uncertainty we evaluate as threatening. Rarely do these initial reactions hold up well under close inspection. Consider the trial of the Roman statesman and philosopher Seneca. Though having faithfully served Emperor Nero for years, he suddenly found himself condemned to commit forced suicide over likely false charges. Such an extreme betrayal and sentence might understandably invoke fury or terror in the accused. Yet in his last days, Seneca exhibited complete tranquility and acceptance, taking the time to thoughtfully write to loved ones with courage and gratitude. How did he remain so composed under extreme duress? By questioning the validity of impressions signaling injustice or misfortune. Through reason, Seneca governed destructive emotions before they could take hold. We too can diffuse destructive reactions by examining their underlying thought patterns. Ask whether initial valuations make sense given the full context. Are external happenings truly as dire as impressions suggest? Is there an alternative, more constructive perspective to adopt? Challenging first judgments allows space for wisdom to override irrational emotions. Regular practice strengthens this capacity to pause, evaluate, and reframe instinctive value assessments, producing unrest. Right reason, aligned with nature, alleviates recognized excess in emotion. We need not be passive victims to feeling. In mastery of perspective lies freedom from disruption. Progress resides not in eliminating emotion, but binding it to virtuous judgments. Let us learn the art of cautious evaluation before assent. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius Stoics differentiate between spheres of control, influence, and concern to determine where energy ought focus for maximum impact. Complete authority resides only over our own thoughts and deeds. Beyond lay realms of varying influence down to happenings bringing concern, but no capability to affect. Marcus Aurelius led Roman legions against barbarian invasions. Defending borders and countless lives consumed his sphere of concern. Yet ruthless winters, stingy resources, and fierce enemies remained wholly outside his control. Rather than lament these externals or fruitlessly attempt sway, he committed full authority only to command of the legions within scope, meeting struggles with creative leadership. Such discernment allows one to separate irrelevant factors from those requiring action in any situation. Maintain disciplined presence, directing efforts solely where direct power exists, all else assigned to fate. Anxiety often signals deviation from what lies within reach. Correct course when caught speculating outcomes or trying to control uninfluenceable pieces on the chessboard we all share. Progress follows from narrowing sights to the endgame square under thumb, one play at a time. Detach from anxiety over preceding or ensuing moves not your own. Adversity becomes but opportunity to showcase virtues. When we set righteous expectations aligned to reality's constraints, waste no moves. The game awaits our next turn. A man is affected not by events, but by the view he takes of them. Epictetus' true freedom manifests self-sufficiency to maintain equanimity regardless of external happenings. Stoics build an inner fortress no army can penetrate through rigorous training of thought and self-mastery. From this stronghold of wisdom flows sustainable happiness. Consider the example of Anaxagoras, renowned Grecian philosopher, renowned for radical astronomical ideas. Though persecuted and imprisoned for his teachings under threat of death, he met such dire fates with amused indifference. When asked how he could maintain such calm through distress, he replied, "The descent to hell is the same from every place." By becoming a bastion unto himself through cultivated reason and chosen perspective, Anaxagoras could view the heights of public praise or depths of injustice with non-attachment. Neither exaltation nor misery ruled a sage intellect, fortified against circumstance. We too can construct resilient sanctuaries within our minds, inhospitable to external siege. Carefully curate values aligned with truth over transient validation. Question impressions which encourage distorted self-importance. Allow outside misfortunes no footing through rational meditation. Direct judgments wisely towards self-betterment, not self-flagellation. In time, the umbrella of unassailable peace expands to receive any weather. Our world might spin circles within. Freedom's flame never flickers. Progress unfolds each day. We deepen detachment from drama's grip. Let us prepare our minds as if we come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. The one who puts the finishing touches on their life each day is never short of time. Seneca. The present stands as the sole real currency in life's ledger, yet rarely receives due investment compared to fretting over the unguaranteed future or unchangeable past. Stoics counsel urgent mindfulness towards capitalizing on the now before it slips away. Despite ruling the Roman Empire at its zenith for decades, Marcus Aurelius spent little time glorifying past conquests or worrying distant threats. Instead, he relentlessly focused energies on present priorities before him, dedicating his meditations to constant gratitude and refinement of perspective in the face of each fresh obstacle. The future's promise held little power over him, for unpredictable fate and certain death permit no idleness without loss of precious moments unlikely to return. Why search vainly for fortune, knowledge or contentment always over the horizon when current reality overflows with opportunity? Attend carefully to the gift before you. Water should not be carried for tomorrow's thirst while dying of dehydration today. Value each interaction as though your last with those involved. Receive failure as education, success without attachment. Maximizing life's potential mandates, doing, learning and loving fully in times only granted now. Wisdom knows no present too humble to reveal insight, no major tribulation so large that small progress forward hides from view. The longest journey unfolds step by step. Eyes up and appreciate the next. Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to throw away. Death stands at your elbow. Be good for something while you live, and it is in your power. Marcus Aurelius. The Stoic path has no definitive end, as continual effort and refinement of self-mastery stand central to its practice. What peace we achieve will not hold without constant guidance of our reason, ethics, and chosen perceptions. Progress demands persistence. Consider Gaius Musonius Rufus, renowned Stoic philosopher. Though born a commoner, his discipline and consistent demonstration of virtue in action garnered immense respect. Banished multiple times by emperors and exiled, he persisted in teaching internationally, spreading Stoic principles by example. One student asked Rufus how he persevered past most in such difficult discipline. Rufus noted that life offers all the same tests, just spread over days for some and condensed for others as trials. The length of practice matters less than the intensity of effort applied. Even facing death, never believe life's purpose spent while will and reason still govern actions. We refashion ourselves each day. Our judgments and behaviors manifest consciously chosen values, but absent vigilance, the tide of old habits or inconsequential demands crowd days with distraction. Recognize life as a sharpening stone upon which we continually whet our ideals. See each ill-disciplined thought as momentary setback on a lifelong path towards sagehood. With consistent demonstration over accumulated days, the sparks of virtue within slowly ignite and spread as steadfast flame, unwavering no matter the external blows. Strive tirelessly towards excellence, and what progress waits cannot be calculated, but abandon not the journey early, for that would be to halt advancement entirely. We end only where effort finds its rest. Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. The one who puts the finishing touches on their life each day is never short of time. Seneca Stoics advise frequent meditation upon one's mortality, as death gives critical context for living wisely. Seneca counseled devoting a bit of time daily to mentally disconnect from mundane distractions and constructively reflect as though it were our last day of life. Consider how priorities might refocus if this day's sunset meant the end of tomorrow's. Attention would redirect away from transient anxieties, meaningless disputes, or trite entertainment. Legacy, purpose, connection suddenly eclipse other considerations when viewed as concluding affairs. Regular reflection on finality allows us recalibrate values accordingly, as Socrates modeled when bravely drinking poison under sentence of Athenian court. By holding individual mortality constantly in awareness, our tolerant approach to daily inconveniences improves dramatically, as does determination to spend limited time left with intentionality. Seek out purposeful endeavors aligned to virtue for its own sake and posterity's. Forge community and meaning. Seize opportunities for growth when able. Create legacy through willful contribution to humankind, however small. As fellow travelers, all facing the same destination, can we do any less? Memento mori, remember your death, not as grim resignation, but catalyst for maximizing life's potential. A powerful reset towards focusing energy on soul power to control our perspectives, choices and actions before it ends. From this mental bedrock flows the resilience to withstand the harshest of fates. the lessons that enabled the great Stoic philosophers to meet adversity and hardship with unflappable poise stand no less relevant today. By differentiating controls, challenging comfort, evaluating impressions, and directing emotions through reason, we too can construct profound mental resilience. Yet grasping principles alone brings little benefit if not paired with disciplined practice across days and years. We must walk the Stoic path through conscious repetition of perspective training, voluntary hardship acclimation, negative visualization, and other exercises geared towards self-mastery. What progress lays ahead cannot be predicted, but to cease practice guarantees none at all. While demanding effort, the clarity, fulfillment, and liberating self-reliance Stoicism facilitates makes it well worth the exertion. Our perceived experience balances entirely on how we frame events inwardly. By building wisdom and integrity, we gain incredible strength of perspective to navigate even the most turbulent seas of life. Chart your course forward with courage. The tools now lie before you. But remember, theory alone changes nothing. Only action transforms ideas into unshakable character. Begin today and let no day pass without progress. We have seen the extraordinary power of these simple concepts lived fully. What heights await our own mountain once we start the upward hike? In earnest, the first steps await. Keep walking,